Power is always dangerous.
And winter is coming.
I'm getting lost in the details of nothing.
Remember the first time you saw Star Wars? We were still living at your mom's house.
Dwight, blindsided by the news that his mob family had nothing left for him in New York, is sent to Tulsa, Oklahoma. As he settles in and surveys his new surroundings, Dwight wastes no time making new associates. This is Season 1, Episode 1 of Tulsa King. Go West, old man. And you are channel surfing with the Bargain Bin. Description from IMDB, we will not be holding back on spoilers. I am Sandro, and I am joined, as always, by my podcast partner in crime, Ben, and our neighbor downstairs, Mark. So, what did we think?
Oh, that's a loaded question, man. Right off the bat,
Yeah.
I really like this show. I like where we're going. I love Taylor Sheridan as a writer, as a creator, as an actor. I'm a big fan of his work with the Yellowstone series, so like that, 1883, 1923, the role of Hale that he played on Sons of Anarchy. And after watching this first episode, I am holding back hard on not marathoning the rest of the season.
You're going to be forced to watch it with us. How terrible for you.
I'm so excited. I am so very excited. Mark, what did you think about episode 1?
I thought that you cheated because you watched it first.
I
and you told us you weren't.
I couldn't.
That's what I think. I think you're being a bad northerly neighbor.
It's so good.
Yeah, that was pretty good start. I did have one thing I just want to say is, why didn't he drop a coin in the jukebox and play Don't Stop Believing going into the first bar?
Good question.
That just would have been a really just weird homage-y kind of thing. Just because it probably would have been like his heyday and, would have touched in with another show that ended on that. But anyway, I just thought it was being cool. I don't know. I've been thinking about it all day. Sorry that it missed.
Something we haven't touched on as of yet is the lead actor of the show, Sylvester Stallone. Crushing it.
He's good.
He's better than good.
I feel bad because he does actually have a physical ailment piece. He has like this thing, right? And I think if he didn't have that, he'd actually be smoother. And it does come a little clunky, but it's not because he's not smooth. It's because he physically can't get the words out smoothly, if that makes sense.
No. Yeah, he's got Jodie Foster mouth in this movie, too.
Mr. Actor?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
A bit of a slur.
Sandro, what'd you think, my friend?
I thought it was great, and I don't think Sylvester Stallone really needed to drop a coin in the jukebox or make any reference to come off as cool, because this character is absolutely cool as well as super charming. And you can see it throughout the entire first episode, as we talked about. He's just winning people over one by one. Some out of fear, yes, but even just looking at the relationship that he has with Tyson, it's just like you kind of want to know this guy, even though you can tell. And I think the way he speaks definitely like fits with the character and the background and what they're going for. But it's also got like a good, like toned down, raspy way about it that like he's fun to listen to. And even when he narrates in the show, it's gripping you and you're on the edge of your seat constantly.
He's got a good timbre for sure.
And I think why the relationship between he and Tyson works so well is because of the problems he has with his old mob family, because he just served 25 years in prison. And he has a line in the opening of the show saying that he married that life. And now that he's served his sentence, he's going to see if that life married him. And he goes back to his old mob family and they pretty much toss him aside. Things have changed and he's no longer relevant. The people that were kids when he went to prison are now his bosses, but he is a man of honor and he will live up to his word and his commitments, so he will do what they say. But when he gets to Tulsa and he meets Tyson, Tyson is ribbing him the way I would imagine he ribbed his friends back in the day. And he totally respects that. So immediately you have that bond. And Tyson's just a cab driver to him at this point. But as soon as you see these two encounter each other, I'm hoping that this is a staying character. Like, it works so well.
Well, it's like a literal odd couple.
Yeah.
I mean, when you just look across a lot of aspects of culture, race, class, whatever, these are two very diverse people.
Yes.
And they just click because it's a literal complement. It's like a puzzle piece. And it fits in this weird way instantaneously.
Did anybody find it odd how quickly he trusted Tyson? Do you guys think that he can just read people that well? Or is this somewhat selective? Because I feel like, and I apologize, I can't remember exactly his name, but the bartender, it feels like he's building a little bit more of a relationship with him. Whereas everybody else, it's almost like first impressions. He's just taking them at face value almost immediately.
I feel like he has a weird ability to read people very well.
It's two, I think. I think one is that he does, but secondly is he backs it up if you don't do what he wants. I don't think he fears you at this point, right? And they do not know who he is. So I think he has a huge advantage on both ends of that.
That's a very good point. He doesn't show fear at any point in this episode.
And not, it's like not even fear. It's like, it's not a thing. It's like a nonchalantness about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's one thing to be courageous, which is like, facing in the face of fear, but he's just like, whatever. And that's like, I don't know what apathetic does to your spirit when you're really angry, you know?
Is it possible that he spent 25 years in the New York prison system? So him going to Tulsa is almost just not intimidating for him? Like he almost immediately feels like a big fish in a small pond. And what does he really have to fear there?
Right. May I jump in about where it started and where I think it might go? And I think that's why they did it, because I think there's going to eventually be a showdown between East and West, right? That has to be.
There has to be.
Because there's going to be some kind of lucrative thing where they're going to come out there or something. And then he's like, no, this is mine, right? Kind of thing. That's just what I sense. But my point is, like, times are tough. It has been a bad time to be a gangster. Dudes could have opened up the books and literally shown them all the money they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be like that, but it's like they made it way more confrontational. And I think they did that for a reason, like, to my point, not because it had to be that way.
No, you bring up a very good point. I find that this as a pilot episode is incredibly refreshing. I love it. I love how they introduce every single character in this episode, but it's dangerously close to Breaking Bad, I think, in that you can kind of see where it's going. You hope it's not going that way. It most likely is. But
there's some early foreshadowing, especially for people like you who watch so much, right? Who kind of see show after show.
But I'm hoping that they kind of push that off. I mean, it's a 9-episode season, I believe. Give me 3 episodes right off the bat of just building up these wonderful characters. Like Stallone as Dwight. I can't help but like him. Andrea Savage as Stacy, whose name we don't really get at this point. Fantastic. Martin Starr is not bad in anything he's ever done. So playing Bodie, the owner of the weed dispensary, I love him.
He's phenomenal in everything.
Jay Will as Tyson? Give me more of that, please. He's so good. He has so much charisma. He's just so enjoyable. Open question to both of you. Favorite character so far?
I'm going to go with Dwight. I feel like there's definitely an argument to be made. I think Tyson will be kind of like an underrated X factor, but Stallone's performance, obviously it's centered around this character, but the way that he is able to essentially manipulate every situation, clearly manipulate people, it's just so fascinating. You want to know, okay, what is he planning? What is he going to do next? What is going through his mind? And you kind of don't know, even as a viewer, right? Because we all kind of had a different idea of what was going to happen the first time he went into that bar, because we had just watched all of what was going on in the dispensary, and then nothing. He bought some guys a drink and had a bit of a chuckle. And then he goes to the car dealership, and it's like, you don't know what this guy's going to do, but you're constantly fascinated by it and want to know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it's really interesting. You think there's going to be conflict between a bumpkin and a city folk who just walked into their territory, and they end up buying him drinks. And then he walks in to actually purchase a vehicle, and you'd think that'd be more business oriented, and he beats the living shit out of the guy. So it's just very contrasting. It's just, you don't know where this guy's coming from, and it's a beautiful thing.
I'm going to ask both of you a crazy question right now. We've only seen the first episode.
Correct.
Predictions for the characters moving forward.
If I may, first, I'd say Dwight is my favorite character, but I think they also have a missed opportunity, because I think the mob boss's son, who kind of reminds me of Sean Penn in Reservoir Dogs a little bit.
Chris Penn in Reservoir Dogs. R.I.P. Chris Penn. Yes.
I don't know if you guys got that weird vibe right away when you saw him. I just got a weird shot in my head of that character. But I feel like they can be a deeper character that needs to be developed before being re-entered. So it'd be cool to have separate, like maybe they do an episode where there's a separate story where that gets built. You know how they have offshoot stories like in the, like Breaking Bad has that, whatever origin story or, side stories that are whatever. But anyway, it is Dwight. I mean, I'm blown away by how well Sylvester Stallone did in that.
Sandro, possible ideas of, how this episode ends character-wise?
I really don't know. I mean, clearly the government has now got eyes on him. We see there's obviously going to be a relationship between Sylvester and Andrea, and that's going to create some sort of conflict resolution, I'm sure, in some cases, because I feel like there's going to be both a chase and a protection on her part.
Yeah.
But I really don't know. Like, at this point, it almost feels like Dwight's biggest issue is modernization. He just doesn't understand things. He goes into the pot dispensary not realizing, like, this is legal.
Maybe that's why it works, though.
Doesn't understand cell phones, Uber, anything like that.
But that's where it works. It's like think about it like a sports team. Sandra, you're a sports guy. They changed the offense on basketball, right? So you had to adapt. But then you went to old school because everyone adapted to the new style. But the old school works again because your size and speed and style suits a different style than what you're playing, right?
Yeah.
So he came in with his 25-year-old style, and it works in today's digital world. He walked into a fucking legal dispensary that has $500,000 with a security guard and walked out with $100,000 and no repercussions. It just kind of screams like, hey guys, try, right? I mean, come on.
I think this is going to go in a different direction. And I have a weird prediction that Stallone does not stay as the lead actor in the show.
Really?
It makes sense.
I have a weird feeling that the FBI takes him down and we get Tyson and Bodie, who have spent time with him, rising up.
I totally could see it. Remember, Stallone's old too. You kind of have to write him out here soon.
You have to be ready in case anything happens.
Yeah.
To deal with that character. But Jay Will as Tyson, he's such a good actor. Martin Starr, no one's going to say a bad thing about his.
I think he's actually going to be the one who's going to be like the geeky, more like the geeky second guy, like he has been. He kind of is general character.
You've got the weed dealer and Tyson, who is learning his ways from Dwight. I think that would be an amazing pairing of characters.
Makes sense. This is one of my prediction I'll make. They're going to go after Dwight, of course. The ATF, it appears, but she's going to tip him. That's the next contact, is she's going to tip him off that they're after him somehow. I just have a weird thing about that.
Do you guys think that relationship is going to continue?
Has to.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, it just has to. It had to when she left. I mean,
she bailed so fast.
I know, but that just shows you how just psychotic she is too.
Okay.
I mean, she works in the ATF and she makes those kinds of life choices. That tells you exactly. I'm not going to talk bad about the government. We're on recorded, so I'm just gonna shut up.
You're also the only American on the show.
I don't want them stopping your Canadian bank payments, eh? I'll just,
whoa.
I'll just nothing. Crickets.
So, safe to say we're all kind of floored. What a great pilot.
Phenomenal.
Sandra, you picked this show. Why?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it was a show that I just wanted to watch.
Yeah, perfect.
Like, I'm a big Sylvester Stallone fan in general. You know that.
Yes.
And I saw the trailer for this and I thought this could be very interesting. And then, I mentioned to you that you should check out the trailer, and it just kind of sparked my interest. I thought we should do this together. And honestly, I'm glad I did, because Stallone did a phenomenal job. And really, if they do find some way to kind of write him out of the show after a little bit, just, like you had kind of thought, I feel like it's going to be like a Sean Bean with Game of Thrones situation. Get the big name to pull you into the show, and then just keep people there with good storytelling, good characters, and a lot of intrigue.
Got a thought. Maybe they put him in a coma.
Don't do that.
Well, no, because then he disappears. And then if he wants to come back, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it writes him out without writing him out, right?
Or he could go back to jail after he's given everybody
you could do
knowledge
something
that
like
he
that.
has, right? Just something
could you imagine he takes a fall for Tyson?
It'd be interesting.
Tyson and Bodie?
That'd be like Breaking Bad ended. That's like final season finale, man, or series finale.
So Dwight goes back to jail, and then everybody else is left to deal with what he had been building because it's bettered everybody's lives. That would be fantastic.
Well, the truth is, he's charitable and charming because he needs to get these people on his side. The quicker he makes friends, the less they're going to give stinks when he does his things that he needs to do.
But at the same time, we don't know that, right? We don't know.
I do know that because I'm from Philadelphia and I know how it works.
we're talking about a character who we don't know his past. We know some of the things that they told us about why he's in jail and how he took the fall and how he even murdered a guy that he liked, even though he didn't want to.
Yeah.
Maybe after 25 years, he's become a person who's like, you know what? I'm older. They allude to his family, his child. We've seen the letter multiple times. That now he's just like, I'm too old to be alone. Yeah. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I feel like they're doing a good enough job to keep it a little bit vague on what exactly his motivations are beyond the very surface level. I need to go and earn.
Right, but just because he has those regrets, he knows those ships have sailed as well. So he's not going, even though he's holding on to his daughter, which we know they're going to reconcile at some point, even though he's holding on to that, he's still doing his job regardless, right? Because he has nothing left right now.
But this is kind of alluding to what Ben said. Let's see if this business married me.
Yeah.
He then gets out and essentially has the gangsters that he's taken the fall for, not turn their back on him, but essentially brush him aside. And perhaps that is a catalyst for him to realize that this isn't what, this marriage was, this ideal family situation that Ben was alluding to. And it changes him.
It's a good point.
And I also have to say the main trait that this character of Dwight has is respect. So if you disrespect him, he'll disrespect you. If he meets you, there's no previous interaction. He will treat you with the utmost respect.
And that's kind of, to your point, is like when we say he doesn't know what he's going to do, we kind of do, right? Yeah. Obviously, the car salesman treated him like shit. or treated the situation like shit. And then the bar people were like, okay, cool, have a seat.
Exactly.
I really thought there was going to be a bar fight.
I did too. After the whole
Yeah, me
Texas
too.
thing with the leather and the skin with the boots, I thought he was going to show him. I'll show you my boots, and literally curb stomp him or something.
Oh no, I thought it was going to be earlier when the one guy pretty much said, buy me a bourbon, and I thought, oh, is he going to try and intimidate him into buying him the drink? And then no, he laughed it off. Dwight's like, the answer is no every time until you ask the question. It's like it threw me for a curve.
How nice is that, though?
It's hilarious that he said it that way because it's something I use with my girlfriend all the time because she's always embarrassed that I ask about things or ask for things. And I'm like, the answer is no if you don't ask. Yeah. So I'm going in expecting no. So yes is literally the only way it could be that's not no. And I'm already going in expecting no. So like, why not?
So here's a question for the two of you then. Is this a swerve? Like the pilot episode, it's impossible not to like you can't hate Dwight. You have to like him. They make you like him. Taylor Sheridan is an amazing writer.
I think he turns.
Yes,
I'm telling you, he's just buttering everyone up so he can be diabolical. I honestly don't know, man. I don't know.
But can you see that happen? Like,
that's what I'm assuming.
Can you see that? Can you see him turning on the people he's building up as friends? Like,
not turning on them. No, I could just see him. I don't see him turning on them. I just see him turning everything to shit around everyone else.
Yes,
if that makes sense. Like, they're in with him while he's doing this, basically.
Yeah, I see him becoming a hard ass once things get going and there's some competition.
Yeah.
I think the big swerve for Sheridan would be to actually make him detestable. And I would honestly kind of like to see that.
I don't think he could do it because it's the honor thing. And I don't think Stallone would sign off on it.
I mean,
like, how many roles is he going to have? Like, to be honest, for legacy's sake, this could be his final role, and it's really a good fucking start.
I would like to see either, it has to be one of two things. They keep him this charming ex-con the entire time, or they make him go super dark. I don't want to see an in-between, and I'm worried that might happen.
What do you think, Sandro?
Yeah, Sandro, with the story that we have so far, with him barging into Bodhi's dispensary, demanding 20%. That's their partnership now. Tyson, who was just a cab driver, is now Dwight's actual driver. We've got Andrea, Stacy, I guess. Like I said, we don't know her name. Working for the government. And then we've got people like Chicky from the mob who are most definitely checking in and seeing what he's doing. Where do you see the story going? Because we only have 8 episodes to wrap this up.
I don't think that you can really predict that at this point. And I don't even know if you can qualify what a twist would be at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because what would the twist be? That he ultimately turns his back on the mob and protects these people that he starts to care about? Or that he becomes a villain and starts just completely following through with all of this? I think that this first episode was done well enough to blur those lines that you can't even really determine what his original motivations are to say if it's a twist or a turn or not.
Well, that's the fun part about doing this episode by episode. We make these grandiose predictions without really knowing where the story's going. It's more of a game for us than anything.
No, what I'm saying is that they blurred the baseline so that even trying to predict what a twist would be is difficult because you don't actually know what the current status is.
Mm-hmm.
I see your point. Yeah, I see. It's because you're not getting what the default setting is. So how do you know what to compare
exactly?
It to? Yeah,
right.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, but we do think he's a respect first, loyal, obviously loyal, right? Expects it back. Tough. Definitely owns you until he likes you. he gets to choose. Charming, obviously. Gracious. Generous?
Well, it's not difficult to be generous when you're using other people's money.
What's what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying we're talking about how he's perceived, right? I'm telling you, he's an East Coast real dude who just happened to butter everybody up right now.
One of the better pilot episodes of a TV show I've seen in a very long time.
May I ask about is it the writer? What else did the person write?
Taylor Sheridan?
Yeah.
I will look that up right now.
Obviously 1883 and Yellowstone have been absolute blockbusters.
And 1923. I mean,
oh yeah, that's right, 1923.
Harrison
that's
Ford.
Is that Ford?
Mirren.
That's Ford and Mirren, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Dang.
Sicario, Hell or High Water, Sicario, Day of the Soldado.
Sicario was good, yeah.
Yeah, 1883, Yellowstone, Tulsa King, 1923, Mayor of Kingstown, which I'm not familiar with. He was in this. Oh, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner just came out as well.
2021 and ongoing.
Yeah, that one just started. Jeremy Renner's an interesting character, huh? But anyway, side note.
Yeah.
Back to the show. Sylvester Stallone, this was amazing. He was naturally him. He was natural. He did not seem forced to force anything.
No. I stand by the statement I made when we were watching. For me, this is his equivalent of Travolta's resurgence from Pulp Fiction. I am fully on board with everything Stallone does from this point on. He seemed pretty tired, outdated, and he didn't really care in things he had done up until this. But he is putting his full emotion into this role, and it's working perfectly for me. So I'm down.
I wonder if he's excited because like the same guy who has Kevin Costner acting for him right now is also, you know what I mean? Like,
well, not anymore.
But you understand, like the general, like, the guy who asked this guy also asked me. Man, that's pretty impressive. Maybe I'm going to put more into it.
Yeah. Or
something. I don't know, like a credibility to it.
I would say so far for me, we're what? April. Technically in my end of the world, it's 420. I'm saying this is probably my favorite show of this year so far.
After one episode, eh?
Yep. I believe in the filmmakers and the talent behind this. Like, I am very excited to see where we go here.
All right. So to start closing it up, why don't we just kind of go through what was everybody's one favorite thing of the episode?
Mark, go for it.
Oh.
I mean, I can if you don't want to.
No, please feel free. Give me just a second, gather my thoughts, but feel free.
Tyson was the anchor of this episode for me. I thought he was absolutely hilarious. He linked everyone together. He had Dwight, who's been in prison for 25 years. He tuned him into technology and the ways of the current world, letting him know about like phones, telling him about dispensaries. He was the link to bring this character out of time into our time. And he did it in a way that honestly was pretty funny. Like this guy's great. I want to see more of Jay Will. So I'm hoping he becomes more of a major player as we go through the season.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sandro.
My favorite part was actually when Tyson showed up in his mom's car. And it was primarily the look on Stallone's face. And you guys referenced it when we were watching it as well. Like, I got to deal with this now. You could just see he's so just distraught by this inconvenience. Because he's like, I gave this guy a stack of money and told him to go buy this car. And now I got to go and deal with this. And really, it's in a way, it's almost like this is beneath me. I shouldn't have to be doing this, right? And just the look on his face when he saw it, it's like, all right, take me there. I was just so good.
the whole show, it's
Yeah.
so smooth, man.
For me, there were a lot of good scenes in it and funny scenes, and but the one I liked was the interaction between him and the bartender, because that you see they are brothers from having dealt with jail, right, or dealt with
How long you in
incarceration,
for?
right, and it's just one of those natural. We know each other because we both have been there.
It really felt like with a lot of the people in the episode, he treated them like they would have been underlings. And with the bartender, it was almost like he was finding someone that could almost be on his level.
Yeah, that's what I think. He replaces him, right, to Bed's point, or as a possibility down the road, or at least like second in command kind of thing as the muscle. Like, you know how they have the enforcer guy who's just the second enforcer guy, but he's, and then you got the business guy in the dispensary, right? So he basically just strong-armed his group. To your point, he can read people. He now has his core, and then he can do whatever he wants.
I was going to say that the bar is the palate cleanser. It seems like that's where he goes, and everybody's on the same page.
Can I ask you guys some weird questions about homages, by any chance?
Okay.
I know I jumped in there, but it just was on my head. Because like I talked about the Chris Penn thing with Reservoir Dogs, for some reason that looked like it. What about his relationship with Jay? Isn't it kind of like in Die Hard with Bruce Willis and the limo driver, kind of in the beginning of that? I mean,
no.
It's kind of smarmy and like chummy, and
no, because Tyson already plays a bigger role.
Okay,
yeah,
cool. Just
it could start that way. I see the reference you're making for sure.
I schism, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. But I think whereas the limo driver, I'm sorry, I forget his name, in Die Hard, he's comedic relief.
That's
Jay
true.
Will as Tyson.
That's true.
Is
much
a
more
legit character.
Integral, right? Actually, much more. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look at, like, I just see a lot of things because, like, I look at shows like Stranger Things, and it's just so pulling from so many different things, right? And you just see it everywhere. So, but this does have an originality that you don't generally hear of.
It has an originality that Stranger Things does not.
Definitely not.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, think of that. Think of Stranger Things like a mixtape.
Running up that hill.
So, awesome show. I'm excited.
Episode 1 down.
All right, so we're going to close out episodes by ranking the show's episodes. But since this is the first one, we don't have to do that one because it's automatically the only one. From everyone here at Channel Surfing, remember, here we are bloody but not beaten, down but not out. From this point on, this city and everything in it belongs to us. Until next time.